Good evening. Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February the 24th. I'm Linda Barnes Caldwell, Councilwoman of the 5th District. I am standing in for Mary Brown, Councilwoman of the 3rd District. We have present tonight Councilman Dwayne Halliburton of the 2nd District, Councilman Dwight Williams of the 6th District, Councilman Kenneth Whittington, Councilman at Large, Councilman Miles Tolliver, Councilman at Large. We have 3 items on the agenda this evening. CPO 2026-07, an ordinance approving the development and financing of a convention and event center, authorizing the pledge of certain revenues towards the financing and authorizing the negotiation, execution and delivery of transactions, documents, and related matters, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Milton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller. CPO 2026-08, an ordinance to approve closure of funds with deficit cash balances or dormant status for several years, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Milton, City of Gary, M. Salida Green, City Controller. And our last one, CPO 2026-09, an ordinance approving 2026 additional appropriations for special revenue funds for the City of Gary, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Milton, City of Gary, M. Salida Green, City Controller. CPO 2026-07. Evening.
Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. Good evening. All right, this ordinance relates to the Lake County Convention Center, and the way it's the way it's structured, the bonds for the construction of the project are issued by the Redevelopment Authority, and the city is pledging its wagering tax to cover its matching portion for the project. So if you remember, it was $10 million. The state's providing $5 million, and we're providing $5 million. Now, of that $5 million, the city is ultimately responsible for 3.5. 1.5 is coming back from Hard Rock, but in order to get the bonds a higher rating, IFA decided that the city would use $5 million of its wagering tax off the top, because that's a more secure source, and then Hard Rock reimburses us the 1.5 million. So from a cash flow perspective, it's the same thing, but rather than getting 3.5 from us, 1.5 from Hard Rock, which would have had a lower rating, the city's providing the 5 million from wagering tax, and then we're getting reimbursed the 1.5. And the reason it's just authorizing the administration to enter into and negotiate final documents is because we're not ready to issue the bonds yet. But once the RDA is ready to issue, the council will already approve the ordinance, and then the mayor and the controller can execute the documents at that time. But nothing's changed from what we previously presented. You guys did the original appropriation of the 3.5. This is just now tidying it up so that when they get ready to go to issue the bonds, this $5 million could be pledged for the 20 years, and we wouldn't have to come back before the council.
I have a couple. So, Brandon, how you doing, man? Appreciate you. Thanks for being here today.
Yes, sir.
So, just for the public's sake, it's not an additional $5 million. It's still 3.5.
That's correct.
Yep. It just looks that way with how you say that to get the guarantee for the bonds.
Exactly.
Got it. That being stated, how much revenue did we generate already from the casino annually?
All right. So this is from the wagering tax.
Yeah, excuse me. Yep.
And so for the wagering tax, we received the cap which is about
Twelve.
$12.2 million.
Okay. Any insight as to, I know we talked, is we get a chance we could raise that? We ever get a yes?
I think the city would explore all options to potentially increase revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just my biggest takeaway, because I know where we're at right now and dealing with the state. If there was ever a time in which we can go from like that 12 to up to a 15. Because the reality is, we know we're going to keep on increasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Quick question. If the construction goes over the budget, who goes and takes care of the rest of that amount?
That is a great question. So the way we're structuring it, and Corey can speak to it from a procurement standpoint, but we'd have a GMAX contract. We'll have contingencies built in. So we're kind of building a cushion so that that doesn't happen. We'd have to scale it down to answer your question. We're not anticipating cost overruns beyond the cushion that we're putting in place.
Once this is approved, what oversight will the council still be able to have over the convention center?
So the way it'll work is during the construction phase, the city of Gary is directing that in close relationship with RDA and IFA, because IFA is providing half of the money. Once the project is substantially complete, the newly created Lake County Convention Center Authority comes into place. That entity partners with the city of Gary to operate the convention center. So at all phases, the city is either in control or in partnership with the authority on the construction and then the operations. After the bonds are paid off, we're finalizing what that looks like, but the authority goes away. And then at that point, the property should revert to the city.
That's good. And then lastly, with the bond council, they reviewed it and they gave us an opinion already, correct?
Bond council drafted this, yes. So the opinion, the final opinion comes when we issue the bonds, but everything that we put before the council has been reviewed and signed off by bond council.
I have,
Public hearing number,
Say it again?
it's,
public hearing?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
okay. Our first person is Maria Garcia Chamac. No? Okay. Ben Pinnick. John Allen.
Real briefly, for the record, and thank you guys for allowing the public speaking tonight. The reimbursement that the gentleman mentioned, could we have that memorialized for the city council in the document instead of just a handshake maybe? So we would like something memorialized from the casino regarding the reimbursement, since it's a change.
Oh, my
And in
goodness.
plain English, in plain terms, the city council is being asked to approve a major development project that relies on borrowing money today and committing future casino revenues from the city of Gary to pay the debt over time. As we all know, right now, we do have a overpayment that we're repaying back from those same revenues. And with the number being about 12.5, I get what Mr. Westerton is saying about it increasing, because I don't know what the schedule is for paying that debt back and simultaneously paying this $5 million as well. So we may have a shortage from what we're used to getting. Also, for the sake of the listening audience, the city is basically backing the project financially using future casino income. If the casino revenues decline, the city may still be obligated for the debt and commitments, I would understand. up to $5 million per year. This could otherwise be used for city services instead of going forward to bond repayment. The city officials are authorized to sign a long-term financial and operating agreements. When they say city officials being able to sign long-term operating agreements, I don't know if that mean like vendor agreements in the structure, so I would ask the council to find that out too. So if someone is a local restaurant owner or some sort of a vendor, would they be able to get leases in the convention center? With that being said, that would be the only thing, and to remind everyone who's listening that none of this money comes from property taxes, it's purely casino revenue. Thanks a lot.
Anthony Alexander. Pass. Okay. I have one more question, Councilman Wissington. Is that for Mr.?
No, it was actually
Um,
just more of a statement regarding,
Okay.
just one of the comments that were made about the lease agreements and what we're able to actually sign. As it states in the ordinance, governance agreement between the IFA, RDA, and the city. As one, two, a revenue deposit agreement between the IFA, RDA, and the city and deposit trustee. Three, a master lease agreement between the RDA and the city. And then four, underlying lease agreement among the RDA and the city. To your point, Mr. Allen, I don't think that we have the capability when it comes to leases in regards to contractors or any entities in that regard, but limited to these four financial documents. Thank you.
Okay. Our next CPO 2026-08.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
The administration is requesting for their approval of closure of funds with deficit cash balances. For Fund 2308, Social Services, it has a deficit balance of $186.94. We're gonna transfer that expense over into the general fund. For Fund 2448, Gray to Green, it has a cash balance of 27 cents, that's positive. You have to make correction to that. And we're gonna transfer that over into the general fund. For Fund 2462, Green Link Grants, it has a positive balance of 12 cents. That will be transferred also into the general fund. For Fund 2476, Northwest Indiana Tobacco Grant, there's a deficit balance of $45,540.33. That expense will be transferred into the general fund. For Fund 2492, South Shore Visitors, there's a balance of $4,655.58. That cash will be transferred into Tourism Account Fund 2500. For Fund 2498, NIPSCO Grant, there's a balance of $8 cash positive. That will be transferred into the general fund. For Fund 2495, Second Chance Grant, there's a balance of $24,595.39. That will be transferred into the Alcohol Fund 2213. Landfill, there's also a correction there. For Fund 2518, there's a balance positive of $1,751.89. That'll be transferred into the general fund. For Fund 3323, Equipment Reserve, that will be transferred into general fund as well for $2,953.02. It's a total deficit of $11,766. Any questions?
I have one, but go ahead. The 45,540, did you say that was a deficit?
Yes,
And you're going to,
transfer the expense into general fund.
the expenses, explain that. I'm sorry.
The Northwest Indiana Tobacco Grant, good evening, everybody, is no longer a active grant. That grant expired in March of last year. It ended with a negative 45,540. I believe, that during the time that the city transferred from RDS, ADP to RDS, that there was a transition period and the payroll was being posted later than it should have. So when the tobacco grant went back to the grant to draw down those funds, those funds were no longer available. And since the grant is currently closed out, we're not able to recover those funds. The grant doesn't exist anymore. In terms of recouping it, yes. From the health cooperative. This is part of the Northwest Indiana Health Cooperative. They had 4 grants, and all of them are inactive at this time. There is one that reactivated.
Thank you so much. Maybe I could try to put this in like layman's terms. So basically, from my understanding, as you explained it, payroll was still going, it was still moving, still clocking. And what had happened was the famous saying, by the time that the grant funding was accessible again, we had already overexpensed 45,000, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So that being stated, we're just transferring over a negative balance of 11,000 collectively from all these funds.
Yes, and the reason why we're doing this, we have the deficit and we have dormant.
Mhm.
So at any time when State Board comes in, they can give us an audit finding for dormant.
Yep.
Because we kept them on our books too long, positive or negative, but no activity for over 3 years. Or they can give us a finding, a comment because it's negative, and I think you may have seen that in some of the previous audit findings. We're trying to get ahead of that this year.
Okay.
And we've gone through every negative or deficit account to see if there's something we could do with it. For the most part, these are the ones, except there are reimbursable grants that remain negative because they spend first,
Mhm.
and then they have to wait for the money to come in.
Yes, ma'am.
So outside of that, we try to locate everything else.
Just had one more question in regards to the second chance grant with that balance of 24,000. What is the actual utilization of the second chance grant?
The Second Chance Grant is an older grant. It hadn't been used since 2022 or even prior, and it is with the court. So I did call the judge and ask her how did she want us to treat it, and she said to transfer it to the alcohol grant.
Okay. And what can an alcohol grant be utilized for?
You know, I'm not sure that we have anybody here from the court to let us know. I know she uses it for the court with people who've had alcohol issues.
Okay.
But outside of that,
Oh,
I'm not
no,
sure.
thank you. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't leaving any money on the table.
we're
and
trying
that-
not to.
Yeah, and that it's, we utilize people who are recovering from alcohol addiction. So
Yes.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam President.
Any other questions? I acknowledge Councilwoman Marion Ivy of the 4th District has joined the meeting.
Yes,
You see that typo?
yes.
Okay.
One of them is 12 cents. It should have been 27
Yes.
cents. Yes, we're going to correct that. And I do need to ask, if I may, the attorney, since this is an attachment, do I have to revise the ordinance?
If it's a scribbler's error, I would say no, but if it's something of substance, then we would have to revise and amend by substitution.
So it's 12 cents in the first column, it indicates 12 cents,
Mhm.
but in the second column for the amount, the 27 cents was copied down.
I think that's a scribbler's
good.
error, that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Green? No? Thank you. Look over there. CPO 2026-09.
For CPO 2026-09, administration is requesting additional appropriations for the special revenue funds. For Fund 2500, Department 585, we added $1,000 to other materials. We took $11,000 from current charges, so we took it from 31,000 to 20,000. And for grants and subsidies, we just took the whole 50,000 out. And that decreased the bottom line to $60,000.
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. For, Fund 2500, Department 597, Economic Development South Shore Visitors Fund. We just took 31,000, we took away 5,400, and we moved the current charges down to 25,000. 25,600, I'm sorry. That was the only change on that one.
Questions?
Okay. And the revenue estimate, from the previous CPO, we transferred from Fund 2492 South Shore Visitors to 4,655.58. And it also had a cash reserve of 53,302 and 74 cents, which brings the total to 57,958 and 32 cents. Questions on that?
Any questions? No?
Okay, for Fund 2533, Department 8790, South Shore Visitors, Gary Railcat Stadium. We reduced the other materials down 2,000, so we just took it to 5,000. For printing, we took away 1,000, so now it's at 1,000 even. And for current charges, we increased it $77,000, which brings a total increase to the bottom line of $74,000.
Okay.
For the revenue estimates, we have a cash reserve balance of $111,410. Oh, I'm sorry, $127,430. We're expecting $16,020. I'm sorry. Okay, for Fund 2301, Department 2021, it's a new budget, and it's for the city council donations. And you have $663 in your cash reserve, so we put the balance of the cash in the grants and subsidies. It can be transferred in between the 43 series.
Questions?
Okay. Already ran over the revenue estimate. The cash reserve was $662.93. I think I mentioned that. Okay, for Fund 2213, Department 2213, Alcohol Fund. Looks like we just did a change in the current charges. We added $24,595. It brings the bottom line total to $55,209. And the
2213? We got 78,295.
oh, I'm sorry. The current charge, current. Okay, because they said they got 50. What total do you have for your bottom line?
We have 78,295.
Is that a different fund?
2213 alcohol fund?
Oh, I'm sorry, you looking at the revenue estimate. Okay, okay, so you
Oh,
went,
I'm
okay, you went
sorry.
ahead, okay. Yes, that is the revenue estimate.
Well, we got that other side over there, you know, that little writing I can't see that I talk about every meeting.
And that includes the Fund 2495, the transfer from the
Mhm.
Second Chance.
Okay, your eyes, you don't get mine.
Okay. Any questions on that budget? Okay. For Fund 2524, Department 50, the law non-reverting, we just put 9,354 into the current charges, so they'll be able to transfer in between the funds as well, the line items. And their cash reserve was also 9,354.50. Any questions on that? Okay. For Fund 2523, Department 8191, the budget is for 2,090, and we put it under current charges as well. This was also the bottom line balance in the cash reserve. Any questions on that budget? Okay. For Fund 2530, Department 8690, we just requested a budget for 25,809, and that was put under the 44 series machinery and equipment. Is to assist inspectors with one vehicle. And their revenue estimate balance was $25,809.28. For Fund 2538, Department 2538, fleet insurance, there was no change to repair parts. We usually don't use the property insurance line item, so we decreased it by $250,000. Repairs to equipment, we decreased it by $100,000. And we added $300,000 under refunds, awards, and indemnities. We normally pay the settlement out of this line item. So, but the bottom line, the budget still decreased by $50,000. In the revenue estimates, there was a transfer from the general fund for $500,000 and a cash reserve of $845,313.38, which brings the bottom line to $1,345,313.38. Any questions on that budget? For Fund 2307, Department 7280, Youth Services donations, we added $3,000 to office supplies and added $1,000 to printing, $1,000 to advertising, and $4,000 to current charges. Bottom line is $12,000. For their cash reserve, there was $12,992.22. Any questions on that budget? For Fund 2502, Department 2151, this is 911 alarm. We added $1,365 under grants and subsidies. And they also had $1,365 in their cash reserve. For Budget Fund 2300, Department 3601, Mayor's donation, we added $6,130 in grants and subsidies. And they also had a balanced cash reserve of $6,132.75. Any questions on that budget? That's it.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so much for going through each line item.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. What's the overall difference from initial budget to this current version?
For most of these funds that are listed here,
Yes, ma'am.
there was no budget for 2026.
Okay.
These were a result of us going through and looking again at the dormant accounts. Most of them were dormant.
I saw some of the relation, yeah.
Yeah, so for that reason, there was no previous budget for over maybe 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the most recent budget that we have.
Okay.
There were some that are done annually that were included, like the tourism ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 2026. We didn't do one last year for this. The Mayor's Donation Fund is also one of those. The fleet insurance is one, and the alcohol one was the one where we made the transfer for the court. So what we had to do with that one is actually revise it because it was done previously. Was there another one that you were interested in?
No, I was just trying to make sure what the difference was from the proposed budget, which you answered in regards to some didn't even have line items, what the fiscal difference was
Yeah.
from what we initially proposed to now.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
but I can do the math.
okay.
I appreciate you.
Madam President? Yes, Madam President. For the 8790 tourism,
Yes.
the budget estimate, the increase for the current charges from 23 to 100. Can I have a little further explanation on that one?
I'm trying to find that. Okay.
It's the third page from the beginning, on the back.
Oh, the South Shore one, the
Mhm.
Visitors Bureau?
Yes.
So for this one, for the 37,000, you're asking why did it increase as much?
It says current charges, line 393, 23,000 to 100,000.
So for the South Shore Visitors Bureau for the tourism, the increase was only for the budget because we actually this year budgeted the total amount that was in the reserve. Not every year do we budget the total amount. So that was one of the reasons it increased. We just budget the total.
Okay. Thank you.
And that'll give us the ability to have more activities during the summer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just one more. Thank you so much. Just back to fleet insurance. I'm not saying we don't need it. Obviously, we need it. But I take it this is in response to all the vehicles we just purchased.
In 2023, we became self-insured.
That's correct. Yep.
So when we became self-insured, the ordinance indicated that each year we would deposit $500,000 out of the general fund into the fleet insurance, up to $2 million.
Okay.
So we haven't spent a lot, but we haven't reached that $2 million yet. So we're
That's good.
still investing $500,000.
Okay. That was my next question. If we ever had to extend that, given I know we invested heavily into equipment this past year, which I mean, doing a great job. We love everything we're seeing from GSD. I mean, the trash this morning was perfect. So I just wanted to make sure, is there a point where we ever have to extend past that, and what does that look like? Are we expecting that in the near future?
So we never have to extend beyond the two, but we do have to start looking at. We've talked about catastrophic and making sure we have catastrophic insurance in the event that we ever need to.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you may have incidents or accidents that result in someone hitting one of our public safety vehicles or something like that. Those things we want to make sure we're fully covered in. But this was honestly a decision made by in the previous administration. Actually has saved us a significant amount of money. We were probably spending almost, I think it was like $1.5 million, something like that. Whatever the premium was, it was at least $1 million a year. And the expenses that we have had to pay out, we even repairs to vehicles, we have not exceeded that amount. So I'm hoping we haven't thus far. This is one of those things that the council by doing this, the council allows for us to be able to take back autonomy to repurpose funds in other ways. And should we have to, of course, we would just come back and ask for appropriations and the reason why. Lord forbid something crazy happens, but we have a catastrophic event that 20 vehicles were destroyed at one point at one time, then that would be one of those astronomical type of things out the place.
Cool. I mean, you're doing a great job. Look at
Yeah.
the reserves growing like that and see that it's an annual $500,000 still have cash left over. I mean,
And that's also huge kudos to our vehicle maintenance department. They find ways to repurpose even when we have a vehicle that goes completely off commission, repurposing parts so that we don't have to do it, or if we have a fender bender, they've worked some miracles down there. So
I appreciate
they
you.
keep
This is
us
awesome.
out of other garages as well whenever possible. So that really, really helps. And then the best decision we could have did was replacing our fleet. A lot of incidents happen because of bad fleets most of the time. So having more modern vehicles, more updated vehicles, fire department as well, new ambulances helps us make sure that we're not breaking an axle and then destroying a whole rig.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your
No, thank you.
explanation and oversight. Thank you.
If we don't have any more questions, I would like to end the meeting for the Finance Committee meeting. Adjourned.